Rolling.
Check.
Daddy's rolling. Daddy's stoked. Daddy's la Français.
How is Daddy and his Français?
Daddy is Français.
Ooh, Daddy is Français.
All right, Keith. Here we are.
That should be the name of the show. Passionate Opinions.
Passionate Opinions. I thought you were saying it should be, all right, Keith, here we are.
No.
Passionate Opinions, a.k.a. Trash Takes.
Trash Takes, yeah.
Passionate Opinions slash Trash Takes. We did it. We follow us on Patreon. All right, Keith.
Ev, you need to set this up. This is you're gonna lead us in, and I'm gonna sit quietly, stare at you drinking wine.
Perfect.
Drinking vino.
Perfect. Here, I'm gonna hang on to it because I'm gonna keep drinking. This is glass 4. So at the beginning of the episode. So just a heads up for everybody.
Let's turn this off.
We
now.
want to start by just saying how honored we are to be a part of this. I mean that truly and genuinely.
Yes, sir.
The Paris Art and Movie Awards. We're thrilled. We're thrilled to be here. Someone, somewhere, respects our opinions enough that they thought we should talk about these wonderful French short films.
Yes.
All the short films we're about to discuss have been selected to the Paris Art and Movie Awards in their Best French Short Film category. So we're here to talk about them. And I know you guys who are watching this probably don't know, we don't have any history with Keith and I, but I want you to know that we are very big deals. Very big deals.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Really?
People know me.
Don't Google us.
Don't do that. But just take our word for it.
Take our word for it. It's more fun that way.
Pretty big deal.
Pretty big deals. We're very successful.
I have many leather-bound books.
And we have the most popular YouTube film discussion show, I'm already slurring, of all time.
Of all time. So filmmakers, that's why you should value what we're about to say here. Again, don't look into anything, just take our words for it. We're very successful.
Don't follow up.
Very talented, very large penises, all the things that you admire.
The important thing.
Yes.
The things that make a filmmaker great. Oh, I'm kidding. Jesus, I'm sorry. I'd also like to apologize to the team behind the Paris Art and Movie Awards. We'd like to say we're honored, and we also apologize.
And I'm very sorry for the
very sorry
for the next half hour of your life.
But we're incredibly excited.
Yes.
So welcome. We watched all 10 of these films separately, as we are wont to do. We can't stand the sight of each other in person. So we're gonna dive in. We're gonna spend some time with each of them, and we're gonna talk about what we thought. I would just say up front, Keith, correct me if you think I'm wrong.
Yes. Already, yes. The answer is yes.
I was blown away. I'll say that, just a general statement. I was blown away by the overall quality. And I also want to be up front here. I'm not kissing ass. Like, I'm not gonna blow smoke here. We're not on the payroll. No. We're just
Yet.
Here.
No, but
Yeah. I mean, we're expecting a check.
No,
This is our.
that's funny that you said that, because I was going to say the same thing. My disclaimer up front was it's going to sound like I'm kissing ass here, because the people were kind enough to ask us to do this, and we were happy to oblige. But that is it's not the case. But in all sincerity, all 10 films were good. Like all like just blanket statement. There is no matter how we nitpick or dissect or give our opinions of what could be better, or what we would tweak, things like that. Like, there is a baseline of excellence. In this case, all of these films really did things extremely well. So excited to get into a little bit more, and we're not just saying that to say that.
This experience, watching all 10 of these short films, really illustrated to me like the high level of quality that you can have. Like, I really truly mean that every film I watched was like, this looks like a film. Like, this This like, and that sounds like a low bar, but I mean it very like as a compliment.
Yes.
Like this feels like a real quality professional film, across the board. And I'll tell each of you filmmakers who are watching this now, all of the films that I watched are easily better than Godzilla vs. Kong, Mortal Kombat, Space Jam: A New Legacy, Those Who Wish Me Dead, almost every Warner Brothers movie we've seen this year, which on other episodes
Warner
we've discussed
Brothers.
quite a bit.
Just hire any
So you
one
all
of
should
those
be making
people.
movies for Warner Brothers. You're better than that, actually. You should.
Dear Warner Brothers, hire any one of these people to make your films, and you'll be one step above whatever the fuck you're doing right now.
Yeah, you guys are better than Warner Brothers, so what you need to be doing is selling out for that Disney Marvel money. That's what you all need to be doing.
Yeah, that
That's
one's
what
for
we're
free.
trying to do.
That one's for free, guys.
Exactly. All right, well, let's get into it,
Let's
Keith.
get into it.
So the first movie I watched of this selection was Alexanne. So Alexanne, by director Killian Thomas, maybe? We're going to butcher
We're going to
all your
butcher
names, I'm
all
so
of your
sorry.
names. I'm not going to
We're
say
gonna butcher
any
them
of
terribly.
them. I'm just going to lower third them, just because I know I'm not going to be.
As smart and successful as we are, we're also morons. We're American, so we don't.
You get what we are.
Keith, what'd you think?
It's interesting that you start here. This was my favorite film. To me, This was the best film and my favorite film. And it's unfortunate, I feel like we had to start here, because I don't mean that in any disrespect to every other film.
Wow. Everybody else could just tune out.
Everyone
now,
else
I
can
guess.
just be like, fuck it. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Except for the one filmmaker. It's like, this guy's a genius. I've made one new friend today. This film, it blew me away. It blew me away so much in a way that I forgot to look at everything else. I got lost in the film. I loved the story. It was really well done. The cinematography was excellent, and the story was unique in a topical way. It was a super creative spin on the evolution of where we are going as a society. Like, you could see that being a thing, and the story sucked me in so much so that I kind of forgot to pay attention to everything else. I was just kind of in it and lost in it. And after it was over, I was like, oh shit, I should watch that again, because I need to talk about the other things that happened in the film. And I think
that's the best kind of film, though.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest compliments I could pay to a filmmaker, that I didn't get bogged down in anything other than just literally enjoying the twists and turns in the story.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with just about everything you say. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I was really impressed. As the first film of this block that I watched, I was like, wow, the bar has been set really high. Like, it is a very well made film. The thing I'll say I thought was the best thing about it was the intentionality, the intention behind everything, which I really value in films, is that you can see like intention. Like, there is intent behind what is happening, and it's not just like a series of accidents, or we pointed the camera at, blah, blah, blah. So an example of that in this film was that throughout the first portion of it, before the reveal is made that she is in fact a robot, I honestly wrote down, I said, this is pretty good, but this actress is pretty robotic. Wrote that down in my notes. And then I also wrote down, I thought, the cinematography is very pretty, but it's very locked off. This is very sterile and locked off. And then as the story develops and it unfolds and you discover that she is in fact a robot, the cinematography opens up and the camera starts to move. And there's like circular shots, and there's a lot more kind of handheld. The cinematography is more alive. And obviously her acting expands, because you understand that she is in fact a robot. So I really appreciated that. Those are the kind of attention to detail things that really go a long way.
Yeah, my hat's off to you for that very reason. I loved the Roomba, the Roomba just like in the shots, and the actress's subtle tics that in the beginning you don't like. This is the opposite of any Warner movie. It just wasn't heavy-handed at all. It really left a trail of breadcrumbs for me to sort of follow. And that actress did, I thought, an amazing job with her little ticks that she did. The fact that she was always in the same clothes every morning, that sort of, just even that montage of the rinse, repeat sort of.
For sure. And at first I was like, why? Well, this girl doesn't change? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but it pays off.
I like all of it really, it unfolds upon itself in such a rewarding way for the audience. I know I said before, and I know it doesn't sound like a super in-depth compliment, but I really mean it as a very high-level compliment for it to unfold in a satisfying way as the film did.
Okay, the next film we'll discuss. I'll butcher the French version,
Please
so
do.
I won't even try. But it was red light, yellow light, green light, which was the 2-minute.
The 2-minute.
The very short film.
Yes. I wrote down in my notes that I forgot in my office.
We're professionals.
Professionals. But I wrote down, that turned quickly. That's what I wrote down. That's what I wrote down. It felt very bright, very colorful, very innocent, and I assume this is all by design. And then it kind of snaps very quickly, and then gets out.
It's like a punch in the jaw.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're watching a thing and you're like, okay, what's happening here? And okay,
and then it's over.
And then it's just over. And you're just asleep. You know, you're just knocked out. So kudos.
Yeah.
Kudos to that. It's short and impactful.
Yeah, it made its mark. I'll remember that film forever because of how what a quick punch to the face it was, and then it was over. That it didn't go into anything more, which for that type of film I appreciate it. Didn't need more.
You can really. That's a really interesting concept in terms of like, you know, a 2-minute film or a 2.5-minute film can be like tough to discuss maybe, but like it's not, because it lulls you one way and then it hits you with this really like important idea that like how domestic violence is affecting children and how even in their play that translates. And like it's very sad.
Yeah.
But the fact that it just ends kind of just makes you go like, shit, man. Like,
because if that was 5 minutes, I'd probably like it less. To be honest with you, if I get more, I didn't need more. You made your point.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished from the filmmaker standpoint.
The next film I'll bring to the table is Lavande or Lavender,
Lavande, yeah.
which was a 12-minute or so film directed by Alexandra Naum.
Sure.
Give or take. I apologize again. American. It's just, brush it off. We're American.
It's our excuse. It's our excuse for everything. We're American.
Idiots. We're idiots. We try.
We're assholes.
It's not intentional.
We just are.
So this film, my main takeaway from this movie was that, I mean, I liked it. I liked it a lot, and it was very affecting. I mean, really, all of these films were very impactful films. The entire block. Yeah, I mean, it's dark and it's sad, and I think it provides sort of this glimmer of hope in terms of like two people who have experienced and are experiencing trauma, and you know, kind of damaged in some respect, finding hope and unity together. And so I think that was really powerful. I thought the film itself is very well shot, very well put together.
The final shot of the film is, I believe, one of the best of the film. One of the better of the block of films that I saw. That with that sun in the field, she blocks the sun. It kind of reveals the sun. There's some hope that comes with that shot in terms of cinematography. That shot will stick with me. I thought that was excellent.
As I was watching it, I remember thinking that I forget what happened. She a bug hits her and she jumps up and knocks something off a table, and the uncle or the grandfather, whoever that character is, the older man, says, "What you don't say never happened." You know, and so in so many words, it's like what isn't said never happened. And even at that point, that film hadn't made a dark turn or anything like that. He said that, and I said like, oh, that's a fucking creepy thing to say. Like that's a red flag. You know what I mean? It was like, just from a character standpoint, I thought, well, this guy does bad stuff, because no one's going around telling teenagers like, if you don't say anything, Nothing bad happened.
Yeah.
Like that was, so that was a nice. I mean, nice is a relative term, but that was
From a film standpoint.
an apt
Yes.
inclusion early. The question I would have about this one is that towards like it is told or shown in like a non-linear fashion, where it begins with the older man having his heart attack or what have you, and then but then it kind of falls back into a linear scope, and then at the end it becomes non-linear again, kind of rapidly, and that threw me off just a half a tick. Where I don't remember specifically what it was, but it was like something's happening, and now we're in this other timeline, whether it's in the future or the past, and now we're in this, and it just was like, it was brief, but it was just enough that I was a little disoriented, like, wait, like what are we jumping to here? Like it jumped away at a moment that I didn't expect it to, and that threw me for half a second. But all in all, I thought a very beautiful film.
It did get a little chaotic, I'll use that term loosely, towards the end, but all I think for the dramatic effect to help hold that reveal a little bit longer. The thing that jumps out to me, because I'm more of a story guy, is really, does the ends justify the means? The ends justify the means for the boy, but for that girl, does murdering that man,
Did she murder him?
Yeah, she's the one, that's how I interpret it, forgive me if I'm wrong. She stole his pills that creates the heart attack.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, that's the whole point of the film. Because
When did she steal the pills?
she brings you physically see her take the pills. And right in the opening line of dialogue, or right in the beginning, the narration of her says,
Elle dit qu'il peut mourir s'il prend pas ses pilules.
Oh shit, look at me being an idiot.
so to save him and to get some payback, she murders that guy.
Oh, well then yeah, the ends justify the means. Are you kidding me? They're completely, 150%.
For her to do it? I don't know. Like,
Yeah, who gives a shit who does it? Motherfucker needs to get got.
to die. Like,
Yeah,
is
you
murder is
can't be
okay.
diddling kids and not. That's
Don't
fine.
get me wrong. I'm not like defending the
Keith
guy.
is coming out as pro diddler. Are you guys seeing this?
I'm not.
Well, does it really deserve?
I'm not defending it. I'm not defending what the man is doing, but it just okay. He can't win. He can't win. He can't win. I'm having the discussion from a story standpoint, because the only issue that she had, the girl, is that she was cheated on. She was cheated on and then got into a fist fight and then got sent away.
Justice. How about karmic justice?
Yeah,
He's diddling kids.
This guy deserves to die.
Great.
But does he deserve to be
the
murdered
hand
by
of
this
God.
girl? That's all. Because you're rooting, the main character is the girl. You're rooting for the girl. I mean, she keeps saying throughout the film, like, I'm a bad person. And I think you're supposed to, at the end, be like, well, she's not a bad person. But she also murdered someone. So
she did the right thing.
I like the and I can never say this word, ambiguity.
Oh, that was way off. I love that you stopped to slow down to say it, and then
I still can't do it, because this is on another episode too. You say it. Ambiguity. I love that. I love that in the ending, in any ending, really, like where there's some give and take to it. So I just posed the question.
No, that's great. I'm so glad you pointed that out to me. I apologize for missing that. I like the film even more now. All right, the next film I have here is the Jellyfish's Blood. So this film was interesting. I liked it, and it inspired a lot of thought. And I thought the acting was great. Just three characters. I thought the acting was really, really good. I thought the female reporter in that first scene was really sharp. It was like real life stuff there. It was really, really good. And then I thought, as is the theme throughout all these films, really, is that the cinematography was gorgeous. And I love the shot as they walked down the stairs into kind of that lower layer as the camera kind of followed them, or led them, rather.
Agreed. I loved, in terms of the cinematography, I love the hard shadows. I love what they did with that shot, with the pregnancy, just the hard shadows in general behind them in that layer. I don't know what room that secondary room. The concept is great. And I loved, I literally said out loud when you found out the woman was his mother. I literally was like, oh shit, like I said it out loud. And that's a fun experience for a viewer. So whenever you can get a little turn in your film and someone's like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming, like that's awesome. So kudos to you. my con, if you will, is the film left me wanting to get out of that space, to see more, because it's a dense concept, it's an interesting concept. I'm leaning in for more. So, and maybe because it's a short film, budgets are obviously tight. Like, there could be limitations that I'm not aware of, and I totally get that. Maybe we're just trying to get a feature out of it, and in a feature you would explore it a little bit more. But from what I saw, I wish we got out of that room a little bit more, and we saw more from these characters, because I think that really could have helped. I felt a little distant when you're just telling me a lot of the backstory. I wanted to see a little bit more of these characters and feel a little bit more, rather than just be explained this situation.
Yeah, that's what I would say too. It would be like my very mild criticism is that it got very expository.
Yeah.
As they got down into that room, and I just felt like I'm being explained to what is happening, and as we always talk about in the larger films that we discuss, is that like, show us what's happening, don't tell us what's happening.
Yeah.
And that is obviously much more of a challenge in a short film completely. But all in all, I did think it was a really fascinating concept that I think you bring up a good point, holds like tremendous potential for a larger film.
Yeah.
So that if because there's a lot of story there to be told.
Yes.
Well, next up is quite the little the film experience here. This was a film, the English title was Mist and Blood.
Looking forward to talking about this one.
Yeah, this is one I think that as I watched it, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to talk to Keith about this. I really liked Mist and Blood. It was very well done. It was very well done. What'd you think? Yeah, great. Moving on.
No, this was my favorite until I watched the other. I forget the Alexa film. I'm just going to keep calling it Alexa. I forget.
Alexanne.
This was my favorite until then. So finishing at my second favorite. Congratulations for earning that badge of honor, being my second favorite film of these 10 films. This seemed the most ready for a feature, in my opinion. I watch this and I say, I want to watch a feature. It explored enough of these characters. I saw enough action. I saw enough from these characters to kind of get the sense of what they were going for. But so well done. The cinematography was excellent. The tone, there was a sense of mystery. Like, I feel like this film took me where it wanted emotionally. I went along on this journey. Any filmmaker who can visually take you to the places that you emotionally want to get to, I mean, it's outstanding. So,
yeah, I think it's interesting you say that it took you in different directions in terms of how you felt about the character. Because to me, I was just, on that guy's side. Because, like, do we want great art or do we want great art? You know what I mean? I'm sorry. That is a horrible joke. But it's clearly a joke.
It's a decent joke, but a horrible
Small
sentiment.
price to pay. Do we want great novels?
Yeah.
Do we want great novels? Oh, so you want his irrelevant work from before. Okay. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Terrible joke. I loved this film. I really did.
Yeah.
To your point of like the overall quality and everything, it really sucked me in fast.
Yeah.
Where I was like, we talk about in the feature films that we discuss all the time, I always say the thing I want from a movie is for it to make me forget that I'm watching a movie. I want to just be like, I'm in this world now, and then you have control over me, and I'm just like invested, and I'm not thinking critically at that point, because I'm not being a critic. I'm just watching a film. I'm just in this, and that's how I felt with this almost right away. And so that's a real testament to the power and the quality of it. It was incredible acting. Okay, so all these movies had really great acting.
He was great.
But
all around,
she
everybody.
was phenomenal.
He was great. He was really...
That long take, that long shot of her at the table giving her whole speech, it was like slowly push in and pause, and slowly push in and pause. And she just went for whatever that was, 4 or 5 minutes maybe. I mean, that was like a a take.
Yeah.
That was very impressive.
Yeah.
From a filmmaking standpoint, to know well enough to leave it alone and just let her go, and obviously from an acting standpoint, that woman, incredible job.
Yeah.
Incredible job.
A lot of smart decisions. That shot after, I forget exactly where it came in, as if it was before he murdered that woman or after, but there was some real American Psycho vibes that I was getting. There was it was a nice, like, I want to say it was like a longer lens, but we're like real close, real personal, and he looks like intimidating, but not like disheveled, almost like still handsome-esque. It gave me a real American Psycho vibe to his character. That framing, that positioning, that angle, his performance spoke so many volumes about that character with no dialogue. If you can do that as a filmmaker, fuck, you're doing something right.
And I'll say to this film's credit too, that like to put the audience in a position where you're watching a scene where one character is trying to kill the other character and you have no idea who you're rooting for is a really powerful scene, because in that moment you don't know. Like, you don't know if she's being correct and accurate in her accusations, you know, or if this is just literally this innocent author who was like a hack and came up with this idea based on some crime reports or whatever. So that to me was very, just very, very good. I thought if we're gonna nitpick, I thought that I didn't personally need I wouldn't say the level of brutality, but I thought the ending didn't need to be as long as it was. Whereas like I thought the reveal was just gonna be, oh, this guy's got this thing tattooed on him, or he's got a picture on his wall, that Zodiac-like target symbol. But then that kind of kept going for like an extra scene or two, or even him headbutting that realty agent or whatever. It was very affecting, but like I didn't necessarily need it, which is not to say it shouldn't be there just because I didn't need it. But.
Effective filmmaking, because you made me feel very uncomfortable. Sure. So that's the line that I think we often talk about, is like what taste versus technique. That's the filmmaker's vision. It makes sense. What I would have preferred was a little bit more mystery as to, is he or isn't he the actual guy? Like, I just see that tattoo and I go, wait a second, and then it ends, and then I have to kind of think back a little bit. But that's more of my taste. That's more of what Keith Macri would have liked to see.
So it is a matter of taste. My criticisms of this film are a matter of taste, for sure.
And I taste the same way you taste. And I said that exactly how I meant it. So.
Yeah, no, you rendered me speechless, which is hard to do. That's terrible, Keith. So Mist and Blood, loved it. Next one I got is Keith. You should pronounce this.
I can't pronounce my own name.
Deus Ex Machina. Deus Ex Machina. Mm-hmm. Deus Ex Machina.
Yep. Sure.
So this film was beautiful. My first thing I wrote down was I don't like anyone that handsome. I had a personal issue with the lead actor. It's too attractive. What is this? What is this? A Calvin Klein commercial? Like, is this real life? Come on. Come on.
They can't focus because that guy is so handsome.
No, that man is gorgeous. That man doesn't walk the streets. He sleeps on clouds and eats grapes.
He's fed grapes. He doesn't eat them.
He's fed. Exactly.
You shut up.
Exactly.
He is fed grapes.
I thought this film was fascinating. Saying I had a problem with it is probably too strong. But my challenge with this film was that I think that, and this is largely due to the language barrier, in terms of like having to read the subtitles. This film was so dialogue heavy. It was so voiceover narrator heavy that like if I knew French, or if French was my native language, I think I would have been able to keep up more. It really just kind of lost me a couple times, but that was almost all due to, I think, like and I'm a fast reader, so that was the other thing, is like I consider myself a very fast reader, but I couldn't really appreciate the filmmaking as much as I would have liked, because I thought the information and the words are coming at me so quickly that it was like a scramble a little bit. It was a lot. It was very dense. It was a lot packed into these 15 or 20 minutes.
The film seemed like it had a message to get across about like not judging not judging things at first glance, taking a second to really think things through, and is everything what it seems? And they hammered that home. Like that was like every aspect of this film went back to that central theme. That last like take, or that last scene where I assume that was his wife coming back in to his hospital room, and then the VO saying like, did you miss anything? Like talking to me, the viewer, did you miss anything? Is there something? And then there was like a passport or something. Like that end scene did make me kind of want to reevaluate it and want to go back and maybe watch it again or watch some parts of it again to kind of see if, did I miss anything? If you were able to sort of weave in some even deeper misconceptions, even after I've seen everything, and feel like I totally understood the story. If there's a layer that I missed, awesome. Like that's great.
I thought the film was very well shot, and I thought the performances were very, very strong. I thought, to your point about the theme, the thing that I was challenged by, I would say, in this film is that, like, just through the medium of film, I'm only given what you present me as the filmmaker. So the point that I think the filmmaker is making is very valid, is like, we should look at things from all sides. But like, within this medium of film, that was very hard to convey, because all I have is what you're showing me.
Yeah, is the
So if
perspective
you're
you
showing
give.
me, yeah, it's like, oh, okay, you're showing me that this is this situation. But then you go, wait a minute, it's actually not. And it's like, well, yeah, I wouldn't have thought it was if you had shown me all that you just showed me.
Yeah.
So like that's a very tricky line to straddle.
Yeah.
But I commend that the effort behind that theme, because I think that's a very valuable theme.
Yeah.
And I think I think to your other point, everything in this film leads back to that, which is a great thing.
Yeah,
like
a valid
that's
point.
what you want.
Yeah.
Is you want everything to be hitting back to your central theme.
That would be my one, again, con, something for the filmmaker to, on their next project, like, do you need all that VO? Is there more that you can show? Because I would argue that you could. There are things that you could do to get that information across without using a voiceover, just telling me it. So I understand it's needed for this piece, the VO. So use it, absolutely. It's a device for a reason. You can absolutely use it. But to what extent? Do you need all of it? Can we figure out other ways to communicate that?
So I think we're just down to 3 left here, Keith.
Flying through. Time flies when you're with the
Flying
French.
through the old list here. The next one I have is Shorebreak, about the young surfing gentleman.
This perplexed me a little bit.
Do tell.
I was a little perplexed. Not inherently a bad thing. I'm a very stupid person, as we all know.
You know, just after this episode.
Yeah, you've already deduced that that's the case. This tonally confused me. You first meet this character, this surfer, very Point Break-esque, loves the waves, loves the ocean, carefree kind of guy, just wants to be out there in his home, where he loves, where he feels free, doesn't want to do, he ditches his girlfriend. And then it kind of turned into a Clockwork Orange for like 10 minutes. And then it ends. Like, I don't know the conundrum that guy is left with at the end. Like, to jump off the bridge or go to jail.
Let me enlighten you.
Please, I feel like I missed something. And
I actually really liked this film. I really, really liked this film. And I was kind of surprised, for whatever reason, as it began. And I really thought, I've thought about it a lot since I watched it. The point that I took away from it is that there's a sort of toxic energy behind like that hometown towny pride. Like the girlfriend says in the first scene, is like, if you stay here, you're gonna rot. Like, you know, like you need to think bigger or whatever, you know, in so many words. Like, aim higher. you stay in your little hometown niche, you're gonna rot. And that's what happens. Is they because they're so filled with this is our town, this is my town. They're yelling that as they get arrested. They're yelling that as they get turned away from the club. They're yelling that as he's beating the homeowner with the golf club. Like, they have such pride and they feel this sense of ownership and superiority because this is our town, this is where we're from, this is our place. And that ends up being very prophetic. The girl at the beginning, like, that too much of that energy will rot you, it will kill you, it will lead to your downside. And so I think that's what the end is that one kid, who's the main kid, who is the best of the three, who wasn't like assaulting a woman or beating some guy to death and was just trying to get away, was like a victim of that kind of bullshit towny hometown pride or that judgment that you have of other people, of tourists, of coming into your town. Like, so I kind of thought that was the message, and I did assume he jumps at the end. I think he probably jumps and kills himself, which sadly, as I personally know very well, is a result of a lot of that small town, energy, I guess. Like, that's a thing that happens there, is you start to feel trapped and you feel isolated, and this is, I don't know. I thought that was kind of powerful.
Sure. There are a lot of things. There are a lot of good things to take away from the film. I thought the stuff in the house, the cinematography was really good. I really like the lighting. I like the feel of it. I felt like I just walked into like a horror film from another film, which I mean that in a positive way. But as a whole piece of work, I feel like I'm left wanting to know why I would root for my main character. Why am I investing in my main characters? And I
don't know that you're supposed to.
And maybe you're not supposed to, but I feel like most films are generally structured that way. And God forbid you follow rules in filmmaking, but
well, look at a character like Patrick Bateman that you brought up earlier, American Psycho. So he's clearly the protagonist of that film, but you're not supposed to root for him. So I mean, there's a lot of examples out there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, that guy's pretty cool, though.
I know, no. You were rooting for the uncle in that Diddler movie.
No, I was not. I was not rooting. I was asking if it's okay with our protagonist to murder people.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't feel that those main characters were extremely likable, even if they had a moment up front where they felt more likable. That's my one. And again, maybe that's personal taste. Maybe that's a personal taste. But
It is. Because they're not supposed to be likable. It's just supposed to be that, I think a message of what the filmmaker wants to say. It's just those characters are vessels for the message. It's not, and that's probably another point to short films, is that it's easier to have characters or protagonists that aren't your audience avatar for.
Are short films just more about the message than they are about the film? I pose that seriously, because it feels like you can get away with it more in a short film. I'm gonna make a point. This film's about X, and as long as you get that point, it doesn't matter how you get there, sort of.
I think that's an interesting question. I would pose it to the filmmakers. Drop a comment after you smash that like button.
Beep, 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 beep.
No, I think that's a fair thing to ponder. I could see approaching a short film more like that. It's like, I have something to say, and I'm just going to frame this 10, 15, 20 minutes to say that thing.
To get that point across, to get that message across.
But I would also probably posit that really good filmmakers can do that with a feature film, which I cannot yet do. So, not that I'm not a great filmmaker. We're very big deals.
Such a big deal. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, guys.
That I'm even taking time to do this. Okay. The next film, I believe, Afloat, or just Seuss. It's a young woman who is losing her hair. And I thought this was a very simple story, but very pretty and very well told, very well executed. Just solid, just like a solid short film. Like I don't, that's kind of underwhelming maybe, but like I really mean that.
Yeah.
With all positivity. It was just like beautiful film, beautiful simple story, great.
The best part about this film was I thought there was two things that the film excelled in, which are I think often overlooked. And I think the editing of this film is done very well. I think it's paced very well. I liked a lot of the transitions within the film. I thought it flowed very well. The editing stuck out to me as something that is kudos to the editor as a strong point in the film. And then I also really appreciated the grade, the color grade to it. It felt very consistent. That beach stuff. Everything like out in the water, outside, like it had kind of a pastel vibe to it. It almost felt like film, like it had a very film texture to it. Maybe they shot it on film. I'm not sure, but I feel like the way they graded it and treated the footage, all of these elements made it feel very organic, very natural, in a really strong, positive way.
I agree with all that. I thought it was just a very I say pretty again. It's just like a very pretty film. I watched it. This was one of the two films that I watched with my girlfriend Monique. She was very emotional afterwards, and she was like, that was beautiful, and really spoke to the perspective of a female watching it maybe versus a male, which was just that like to a woman's sense of beauty and femininity and really sense of self, that like your hair is so important. And so for this woman, this young woman in the film, to be going through this and to be insecure about it and sad, and then willing to be vulnerable and trust this guy at the end by taking her wig off, was really a major moment, which I can see on my own and be like, yeah, that's great. But Monique, my girl, was like really like that. No, that's really powerful, beautiful stuff.
You don't know what it's like to lose your hair. And for those who do,
Well, even those of us who do as men, those of us, I say loosely, knocking on wood with this gorgeous head.
This guy here, it's hard.
No, but even as a man, obviously you losing your hair, we can just laugh at you and call you impotent. But as a woman losing her hair, that's not as funny. There's no joy in that.
That's it. Just me.
Look at this bald guy.
This fucking bald bastard. Yeah, no,
This is great. I've never gotten to make fun of him before. Now I can do it on camera on the internet.
It's hard. It's tough. It's tough. You guys don't get it. So this film spoke to me.
Like Larry David, bald people's got to stick together. Baldies. Last film, The Yellow Dress.
I think you're missing one.
So
I think you're missing another film.
Am I? Which one?
The film, the long one, like the 28-minute one.
So my mistake. There's two more films, obviously. The next one I have is The Yellow Dress, which I really enjoyed. I was really blown away. Again, I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face. All of these films, the production value, the quality of the cinematography, just the quality of the equipment that's being used.
Yeah, I want to know the budgets. What are the budgets? I want to know budgets. We've made short films before, and I like to blame all my shortcomings on the budget. So if you're working with less money than I am, then I have some real problems. So
just a really beautiful film. High quality. Loved it.
Kid was
basically
great.
Throughout.
Kid was great.
Very intentional, very well directed. I mean, I could just heap praise on everybody. Everybody did a great job acting, great story, all of it. The ending just barely threw me for a second. But my big takeaway is that this was one of the better films I saw. I really, really liked this film.
This film executed very, very well. That's it. I think the best films don't need to reinvent the wheel. Good stories are good stories, because you tell them well. You know, the best story told poorly is a shitty story. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel with your stories. It's all in how you tell it, and all of the elements that went into the story, you know, were operating at a high level. I thought the acting was great from everybody. The cinematography, great. All the three main characters were well developed. I think that's hard to do in a short film. I thought everybody had their goals. You like understood what they wanted, who they were, enough. Obviously, it's a short film. You can't get too in depth, but in terms of the 15 minutes, I mean, you for three people to fully understand sort of where they're coming from, what their wants, desires are, and to be able to empathize with them, like it was, that was impressive to me.
It was a great film. Did a great job. The only thing, as I referenced, like the ending giving me a slight misstep, was just like the very ending.
Tell me. I'd like to ask the filmmakers. Put it in the comments below. The staring down the barrel of the lens. The kid glances, into the lens, and then it ends as if the ball's in my court. I didn't fully understand it. It didn't fully connect with me. I thought you didn't need that. But maybe I missed something. As a smarter person than I, why did they choose to do that?
Well, I mean, I think the point of it seems to be, it's presenting this scenario to the audience. Like, she, mom was able to overcome. Are you? Like that kind of thing is like, is this is not such an issue as mom thought it was? What do you think? I mean, that to me is my takeaway for breaking the fourth wall and looking at the camera. And it's a bold move. And so I say this with no condescension, like that it's a bold move. And that's like, swing big, absolutely. It didn't resonate with me completely because I thought your story for the filmmaker, I thought the story was good enough.
Yeah.
Without that.
It didn't feel like you needed
the film was complete enough without that. That just and not even necessarily just breaking the fourth wall, but just that whole last sequence of them staring at each other on the farm side, on the hill there in the garden, like all of that. It was not bad by any stretch, but to me it was a little unnecessary. I just thought like the point was made as she was looking at the dress on the clothesline, and that was enough for me to be like, wow, like. I felt like at that point, when she was looking at the dress on the clothesline, I thought this is the best film here. Like this is probably my favorite that I've seen. And then the ending came in, and I thought this is obviously still a very great film, but it just took a half of a millimeter. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I would be curious to hear their thoughts on it, because I love talking about movies and the creative decisions that filmmakers choose and they make, because there's a billion of them for you to make in every single film. The breaking the fourth wall at that point, that now it feels to me, just to me, then it teeters on the line of like, well, now you're preaching to me. You've made your point. Let me feel that moment and make my own decisions based on what you should. But when you lean into it like that, now I feel like, well, you're telling me what to do. And I don't like to be told what to do in any situation. I'm my own man.
Yeah. Amen, Keith. No, I'm with you. Well, Keith, the last film is Jeanne.
Jeanne.
Which is a beloved title for me. It's my mother's middle name, so I appreciate it.
So you love this film no matter what.
Yeah. Best film, Mom. Love you.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
This film was interesting. I think a story that we've seen before, this type of odd couple story, begrudging people that sort of need each other at this time and then over time gain a certain level of respect and maybe even love for one another. Again, not overly complex story, a story we've seen before, but executed well. And as I said before, that's what matters most. I don't think you need to reinvent the wheel every time out. If you just do a great job telling that story, you're going to have a great film. And I think this film is no different.
No, I agree with what you're saying. I thought it was very solid. and well made as so many of these were. And obviously, the woman in this story is pretty rough around the edges, and you know,
Sure is.
homophobic perhaps, and not exactly
Or racist.
the nicest person on the surface. But you know, there's a clear evolution of their relationship together that I think reaches a point of mutual respect, if not, as you say, like almost a love for one another, as evidenced, you know, by the emotion of the end of the film.
You know what? Honestly, I thought the woman was the best part of that film. I mean, really, it's predominantly these two people. You're with them for 20 to 30 minutes. But I thought that woman was outstanding, really. I thought she did a great job because she's unlikable, but you don't hate her. And I think that's a fine line to walk. You see a little bit of logic, I'll use that term loosely, but you know, she's rough around the edges, like you said, but again, she doesn't go all the way to a point where she's like intolerable. And I think as an actress, that's a fine line to walk. And I thought she did a really good job.
All right, so
any other thoughts about all these films?
Les Français. No, I mean, I had a great time. I had a great time watching these, and as I referenced at the beginning, full of inspiration. I mean, I really like this experience watching these 10 films has transformed the way that I view how I can make films and short films. I mean, this is everything that I would think a film festival stands for. All of these films were top quality, enjoyable, entertaining, and again, my word of the day, inspiring, was just like really commendable work. And I'm honored to be here and even be a party to any of it.
I'm not.
But this is the real issue, the moment at hand. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about France.
Okay, we should cut this.